Hi, I'm Ajua and welcome to London TV. So, the other night we watched the Putin interviews with Oliver Stone. It was actually really entertaining. It was shot over 2 years. You'll see in the first episode, Oliver Stone sees Putin in July 2015. I guess due to schedules, they don't see each other again until February 2016. And I loved it when Oliver Stone said, "Did you miss me?" And Putin goes, "Well, I have been crying, but now we're here, so I'm okay." And his sense of humour is just wonderful. There were so many moments where me and my mum laughed, and especially when the Victory Day parade of 2016. And Oliver Stone says, "Oh, Gorbachev was there, but you didn't say hello or goodbye to him." And Putin just matter of fact, "I didn't see him," like, so what type of thing. And then Oliver Stone again, "Oh, it's a shame the US ambassador wasn't there." And Putin's face is genuinely like, "So what? Who cares? Like, whatever." He's just great, isn't he? Like, I just think he's so funny. He's so to the point. At the end of the day, if it's not going to be great for him or his people, then everyone else can go away. And he says very matter of fact that the narrative at the moment is that someone has to have an enemy. The US and unfortunately Europe and a lot of parts of the world have to have an enemy. And right now the enemy is Russia.
In relation to Oliver Stone's Putin interviews, I thought that Putin was being very, very restrained in terms of his speech, the information he wanted to get across. He came across as being a little bit frustrated that he couldn't openly speak his mind. He was very conscious of not giving too much information away or speaking harshly or answering harshly to the questions. What I find with Putin is that he's sometimes too polite with the West, in the sense he will call them my American partners. I understand he's being strategic and he's being somewhat a better person than them, but it gets to the stage where I want to see from Putin something direct, something harsh, something that slaps them down and makes them realize we either speak as equals and partners or we don't speak at all. And it seems to be the case that he's always the one trying to make an effort, trying to build bridges, and they're the ones who are burning these bridges. So I would have loved to have seen in the interviews Putin say flat out that the West orchestrated a blatant coup in Ukraine, they're helping radical Nazis in Ukraine, and they're the ones causing trouble. But once again, he's too much of a diplomat, he's too much of a strategic and smart person, so he puts it in kind political words. I think the time for kind political words is over. He needs to speak directly to their face and say, "This is where you're getting it wrong, and I'm going to expose you by saying the truth."
I'm really keen to see all of your thoughts about the interview. I thought Putin came across in a really great way. I think he is more human than a lot of politicians, and I loved that he was just to the point, matter of fact. There was no political going around the houses. He just told the truth. But what's filtered to us in the UK is he's dangerous and the Russians are our biggest enemy and everything. I think Putin is a really strong leader. I think he's great for the Russian people. He's always thinking ahead. He's not the type of leader who thinks only a year, 2 years ahead. He's thinking about the Russian people for the next 20, 30, 50 years, which I think is really admirable because a lot of leaders don't think like that now. My mum adores him, thinks he's wonderful.
I have to admit, I watched the documentary with my mum and I show her a lot of the Putin stuff that I watch, whether it be films, documentaries, interviews. She generally likes Putin because she has a good sense of detecting when somebody's talking bullshit and when they're telling the truth, and she generally sees this leader in Russia as a global leader, not just for the Russian people, but somebody who will slap down the West and tell them what you're doing is wrong and stop it. So when we watched it together, she was impressed by him. My dad is not too into political documentaries and information, but every time he sees Putin on TV whilst I watch it and my mum watches it, he has nothing but good things to say about him. And this isn't because we are being paid by Russia or because we're Kremlin puppets or what have you. It's solely because we're fed up with bullshit from the West, and we generally want real information and real take on historical events.
What you have to remember about the UK and especially the US, people aren't stupid anymore. People don't trust these sources.
From myself, a young person, to my mum, to my dad, to my brothers, we all have come to realize that we've been told lies and misinformation. And I think the key time when we realized this was in 2009, just before they'd done the fake Arab Spring and they killed Gaddafi. We realized that the West was full of shit and most of the media was garbage, and we started to watch RT, Russia Today, and that became our main source of news. The more we started to watch RT, the more we appreciated what Putin is doing in terms of political leadership in the world. So whoever, the people who might be watching this in the West or in Russia who think we're just Putin, Kremlin trolls or what have you, we're not. We're just genuine people, regular people who are seeking honest information, and we identify this as coming from Putin.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think he's really witty. He's got a lot of banter, as we call it, a lot of jokes. So I think just in general, he's definitely a leader that history will favour him well, depending on who wrote the book. But I think a lot of people here especially don't trust a lot of sources anymore, CNN, BBC. People do look for the news themselves, whether that be Twitter, whether that be other social networking platforms. A lot of people I've spoken to, you know, would say, oh, actually, at first I thought Russia was definitely like an enemy. Why haven't we gone to war? And then they start doing their own research and go, oh, why are we so angry with them? Like, they haven't done anything. At the end of the day, it's just a narrative, isn't it? Like Putin has said himself, somebody has to be the bad guy, and if it has to be me, okay, I don't have to do anything, you'll still make me the bad guy. So okay, it's all about power, and I think he uses his in the right way. But I'd be interested to hear what you all think, and obviously what's filtered down to us is completely different, but I can't imagine that all of you are Putin supporters, so it'd be interesting to hear what you think and your thoughts. And
in summary, it was good. It wasn't the most informative because I've heard most of it before. I liked it. I watched all of it. I would appreciate it for it to be more hard-hitting and less restrained on Putin's part. I think Oliver Stone done something very good. He built a bridge where Putin can get his genuine views and Russia's genuine views and opinions to the Western audience without having to go through CNN or other biased media which were going to alter his words or alter the interview and edit it incorrectly. So I personally want to see more interviews done on a regular basis, focusing on key issues such as Ukraine, such as Crimea, such as the economy, such as the West and John McCain trying to start revolution or colour revolutions against Putin in Russia, such as how the West is holding the global South, Latin America, Africa and parts of Asia to ransom and in poverty. I want it to be more hard-hitting. I want it to be real, genuine and just truthful, and cut all the bullshit out, cut all the political speech out. That's what I thought.
thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Any questions or concerns, you can comment and we will come back to you. Until next time, see you all soon.